Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. First things first, if you wouldn't mind giving me a like and a subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And whilst you're there, remember to let me know how you're feeling out of 10. It's something we do every week to get people talking and being a bit more open and honest about their mental health. For me, this week, I think I'm about an 8 out of 10. It's been one of those weeks where we had plans to do things on Monday and it's now Friday and we still haven't done them. But nonetheless, I'm still feeling pretty good. Now, on to the highs and lows of the week. Now, you'll probably remember that last week I mentioned that we were going to semen test Hornblower here for the second time because the first time he didn't give us a good enough sample to test and we needed to make sure that he was going to be in like working order for this year. But him being old, we were a little bit on the edge as to whether he would pass or not. Well, we tested him on Tuesday and he did actually give us a good sample, which is awesome. But when we put it under the microscope, unfortunately, he didn't pass. What you would normally expect for a pass is around about 65% normal sperm. If you want to go and watch a video on semen testing, I did one a few weeks ago, so go and check it out. Find it in the uploads or wherever it is and see if you can see it in there. But you'd expect to find about 65% as a pass. Hornblower would normally be around high 80s, low 90s. I think Lewis there next to him was like 92%, something like that. This week, Hornblower was only 18%. So unfortunately for him, it looks like it's coming to the end of the road, which for me is really sad because he has been the best bull I think that we've ever owned. He's incredible. And if I had the ability and I had the money, I would put him in a little paddock on his own and he would just stay here to the end of his days. But unfortunately in this game, doesn't quite work like that. Now, with that being the low of the week, the high of the week is that actually we've had some perfect weather conditions. We've had a little bit of rain. We've got some more rain forecasts over the weekends. Perfect weather conditions for what we're doing in this video, which is under sowing some red clover lays into some of the arable silage that we drilled last week, which is a new thing for us. I don't know too many people that have done it. Hopefully it works out to plan and hopefully we all learn something. So without further ado, let's go and check it out. So what's the plan here then? Right, I've dug this old relic out of the back of the shed. Now this is our old combi drill that I used to use to drill all of our cereal crops before we bought the Claydon and went sort of doing direct drilling. Back when we used to do sort of subsoiling and ploughing and disking and whatever else, this is what we used to use. The field I'm in right now is a field that we've actually drilled some arable silage into at the end of last week. We drilled it at around about a third rate, something like that. I think it was about 75 kilograms to the hectare, and it was only spring barley and spring peas. There was no oats in here whatsoever. How we're going to make this work is we've dug this drill out of the shed and we've altered it a little bit. We've kind of got a bit of an idea of how we're going to make this drill work, and alter it permanently in the future. But for now, this is what we're going to do. So as you can see down here, we've actually taken the pipes off of the coulters so that they will just drop straight onto the floor. Any seed will just drop straight onto the top, because with grass seed and clover seed and things like that, the tiny little seeds, they don't really need to be under the surface. They need to be more on the surface or just on that top bit. And then the idea is that the coulters, we've slackened all the pressure off, so there's no pressure on them, and we've slackened the pressure off this harrow as well on the back. And ideally then it will just kind of just put a little bit of a covering on the seed, but not a lot, and then we'll come in here with the rolls afterwards and roll it again. And if the experiment works, we'll have the red clover lay underneath, arable silage growing through the top, and then when we get to July, mid-July, something like that, we'll be able to come in, take the arable silage out, and hopefully underneath will be a nice, well-established red clover lay. Now the field, the other side of this hedge here, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it with a herbal lay. I'm still waiting for the herbal lay to turn up though, because there's a shortage of vetch seed, because apparently all the arable farmers are buying it and undersowing things and whatever else with it to put some more nitrogen into the ground, because fertilizer prices are so high. But luckily I spoke to the guys at Arable Silage, which is where I bought the seed from for this, and they're dead good there, like super relaxed. Really like those guys. They have actually taken the vetch seed that we've not got for our mixture, and they're going to put it in with some other type of seed just to make the mixture up and get that seed out to me so we can get it drilled as well. But for now, let's just crack on with this red clover lay. For those of you who are wondering about the power harrow on the front, we are literally tickling the top, like tickling, not even putting any kind of depth in with the power harrow. It's just as a bit of a leveling, just to level these tiny little ridges out here so that when we do come to mow it or whatever else, we haven't got to worry about any ridges and whatever with the mower and with catching them with the mower blades. It's not really doing anything. It's not in any great depth at all, and it's just, I'm going to alter the packer to make sure that it is literally on the top, no depth. If money was no object, I would love to have sort of like a 6-meter grass harrow with a seeder on or something like that. It'd be ideal for this, because you'd do the same job, kind of fill in these ridges or whatever else, and just put enough tilth in there to get the grass seed growing. But money is an object, so this is why to be fair, it's why we kept this drill and didn't swap it in when we bought the Claydon, because the Claydon, as amazing as that drill is no good for grass seeds. It's great for doing rape, beans, cereal crops, whatever. But grass seeds is just a bit too harsh, so that's why we kept this drill. And there we have it, the first red clover lay that we've ever put in on the farm, if I'm quite honest, is now in, undersown into the arable silage that we direct drilled last week. So I'm really hoping and praying that this works. To me, what I kind of pictured it would look like in my head when I started, this is it. Like, I don't think I could have got it any better than this. So really hoping that it works for my sake and for yours, because to be honest, like, me sharing all of this is partly so that you guys can learn whether it works or not and try it yourself. So I'm hoping that it works, and obviously I will keep you up to date. I've used pretty much bang on the right amount of seed, which I'm really pleased with. There's a tiny little bit left, but this has a marginal on the bottom as well, which is probably where that extra little bit has come from. There's a lovely amount of tilth here as well, which, if you don't know what tilth means, it's just like this, just a nice amount of small, tiny soil particles that will cover that fine seed. It's all blown on perfectly. Everything seems, fingers crossed, to have worked. So we're going to just find out, I suppose. We're really lucky that it's gone into a bit of moisture, and we forecast some more moisture. And actually, it's now the afternoon, and I didn't start this until after lunchtime. And at lunchtime, we watched the weather, and it forecast a bit of rain over the weekend, and then some sort of showers next week, which realistically is ideal, like absolutely perfect conditions for drilling grass seeds, because it's going to be warm and it's going to be wet, and it will just be like a greenhouse here, and it will just fly. So I'm hopeful that not too long this field will look really nice and green. What I'm really expecting to see when it comes up is I'm expecting to see the rows of the Claydon drill, which is the barley and the peas, the whole crop, so to speak, and then the whole field covered in green from the clover and ryegrass that we've just drilled. Especially seeing as we've took the pipes off the coulters, we shouldn't really get any rows there either, so that should just pretty much cover the whole field. I'm hoping as well that the peas will provide some nitrogen for the barley and for sort of the early grass growth that we've just drilled. And then when we cut the arable silage out later in the year, that the red clover will be established enough then to sort of then provide some nitrogen for growing on the grass for later on in the year. The idea is, when we put this in, is that we kind of end up with a crop of grass or red clover lay that looks after itself, and we don't have to put nitrogen on if we don't want to. This should, in theory, without any nitrogen, another year provide us with maybe 4 cuts of silage, as long as we get some moisture. If we wanted to, I think we could also front load this with a little bit of nitrogen early on to get an extra cut of grass. We'd probably provide 5 cuts then, or give us 4 cuts early and then leave us with some aftermath grazing later on in the year to turn some calves onto, or to put some cows onto if we needed to gain some condition. So I'm hoping it's going to be quite universal. I'm saying hoping a lot because it's a massive experiment. There's a lot riding on this, so fingers crossed it all works for us. And as if by magic, Hurls have delivered this morning my herbal lay, so I can go and get this drilled before it rains, which I'm really pleased about. I just thought I'd show you this ticket here. There is, I think, 18 different species of herbs, forbs and legumes in this. We'll have a look inside and show you what it all looks like, but this is a really impressive thing. I'll put a picture on right now, and that's what we drilled last year, and that's why I'm going to get this, because we don't need to put much nitrogen on here at all either, and it's really drought tolerant as well, because it's really deep rooting, and it does so much good for the soil. So really looking forward to getting this in as well. So as we can see in here, it just looks slightly different to the red clover lay. There's a lot of different varieties of seeds in here, lots of different grasses. You've obviously got your vetch seed there with your big seeds. You've got your little clovers. I don't know if you can see those tiny little seeds there. So loads of different seeds in here. I've got to drill this at 14 kilos to the acre, so it's slightly heavier going on, but a part of that's because there's so many different things in here. Really excited to see how this one goes. So we're going to establish this in exactly the same way as what we did with the red clover. I'm just going to take that last little bit of red clover out of the drill now, calibrate it up for that, and then I'll go and get cracking on. Won't have time to actually video anything and get it published today, but I will obviously, as I said earlier, let you know how it all goes. Now, if you do get the Farmers Weekly, I am in the Farmers Weekly, got my article out today, so please go and check it out. I'd really appreciate it if you read it. I'm just chatting about TB and just saying how it's affected us and how I now sort of can understand how people who have had TB for a long time feel. But with that said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like and a subscribe. Have a great weekend. I think Saturday's supposed to be super warm. There's loads going on. We've got the FA Cup final, we've got Eurovision, whatever floats your boat. Have a great one, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.